Hello, hello, and we are coming again. Me, Irina Portnova, and Bruno Gill are coming with the bite-sized, heartfelt tips, something that we are going to be doing on a weekly basis for our group and people that we love and cherish. And today we are going to be talking about three main qualities in the partner. And obviously, we all have our own qualities, but today we are going to be sharing what's important for me and Bruno, looking at the partner. And just to keep in mind that a lot of times people just don't even think about this. They just go with the flow, looking at somebody. Let's say they met the person and they just look at the physical attraction, not paying attention what other qualities are important. So the tips for today is to start understanding what exactly matters to you even before you meet that special someone. So you intentionally send in the signals to the universe to attract exactly the partner that is a great match for you. And Bruno, what are the three main qualities for you in the partner?
So for me, number one is communication, number two is honesty, and number three is knowing how to take a joke.
Okay, to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, like it's because like you can have a sense of humor, but at the same time not know how to identify other people's humor. For me, for me, my partner has to know how to identify other people's humors because I'm a person who likes to joke, right? I'm not a clown, right? Like you have clowns and then you have jokers, right? Like you have clowns who are like, like they think they're this and that, and like they say things and stuff, and they think they can say them, right? Even in front of people, right? But in reality, like there's a level of respect, there's a level of boundaries, right? That a lot of people they cross them, right? And then you have kind of a joker, which is like, you crack a joke there, you crack a joke, and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like there's always a respect, there's always a limit, right? There's always the boundaries, and yeah, I'm like that. Like I'm a bit of a joker in terms of like, with my partner, I like to joke, and I like the partner to joke with me, and I like my partner to tease me. I like to tease my partner as well, which is completely normal things. I think that's really important, and like communication as well, right? I think the power of our words are incredibly important. How we choose them, how we not choose them, how we say them, in what tone we say them, in the situation that we say them, in the time of the discussion, the argument, or just a normal conversation that we say them, right? It's not about like being very detailed or like even overthinking it. It's just like just choosing your words. That's it, like, right? Um, Knowing how to keep your cool, knowing how to keep your calm. The reason why I said that trust, the reason why I didn't even touch on the trust aspect, because trust is also very important, is that communication already builds the trust, right? Yes, you do need to trust to communicate, but the reality is that the communication builds the trust, right? And before there's any trust, a true leader in a relationship has to kind of like give up a little bit that feeling of like, I don't know, and just go for it. Take the first step, show the person that you're ready to communicate so the person can communicate with you as well, right? So yes, and then obviously honesty. Honesty for me is super important because I hate lies. Um small lies, not small lies, from small to biggest, from most innocent to most purposeful. Just don't lie. It's just like there's no need to lie, right? And the people who lie, they're simply afraid, right? um and yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as like not it's the same thing as like the excuse part, right? It's the same thing as like you don't have to apologize, if you don't make a mistake, right? And we all have a choice, and we're not perfect. uh, Obviously we're far from perfect, but we always have a choice, right? So it's very important to think before we act, not just act unconsciously. Like you don't even have a brain or a choice to make before we do that, right? So yeah, I mean that's kind of my 3 tips.
Awesome. Thank you. And I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, you said, you don't have to apologize if you don't make mistakes, but we all make mistakes, right? So
Yeah.
I think apology is a part of the process. So it's okay to make mistakes, and as long as we acknowledge them, and as long as we apologize, we understand, we accept that we did something wrong, and then we just shift that energy, knowing that this is something we have to work on, right? Because as you mentioned, nobody is perfect, but they're just embracing that imperfection and know how to actually handle yourself and how to be a good communicator, as well as something you mentioned is important to you. I think that's really something that makes the relationship successful. Well, in my view, the 3, because it was difficult to point just 3, because when we think about it, and this is something I would really invite all of you who are going to be listening to this episode, just sit down with the journal and the pen and see, like, what are the qualities that you truly treasure in your partner. So for me, like, trying to identify the 3 most important, it's generosity. Like, my partner has to be generous, because I am a generous person by myself, and I don't like the guys who, like, trying to save on me or anybody else. This is like not to go any further than that. So this is like number 1 for me. And generosity also speaks up about, the kindness, the big heart. And that's all for me is very, very important, because for me, I love to be generous to people around myself. And I am that type of the person. I know how to receive the generosity as well. So it goes actually both ways. So this is like number 1 quality for me. Number 2 is open-minded. Because if the person is close-minded, and if the person just wants something his way or highway, or not open to try new things, to see how things could be tweaked in order to make it better in the relationship, that would be no-go either. And third one is emotional maturity. This is also, like, I would say, like, all 3 of these are must for me, because emotional maturity, talking about emotional intelligence, knowing how to handle yourself in any given situation, right? It's so important, because you don't want to dump on another person all their, things that you cannot handle. And a lot of times people are like that. A lot of times people, when they don't know how to handle themselves, they just throw all of their emotions to somebody else, and figuring out it's their job to deal with that. And I say no. For me, the person has to be emotionally mature, knowing how to handle himself, also being aware of his actions and words. So, like we say, we are here on this life and love journey all together, and we are here to learn and evolve and grow with that. But nobody is perfect, but people are willing to work on themselves, because you want to bring the best in each other, right? And then again, if you want that beautiful partnership with somebody, you learn how to also become more conscious and talk, like Bruno said, communication, right? Talk and see, what was done right, what was done wrong, what could be done different. So love area is the same as any other area. It's work in progress. There is no such a thing that you found that perfect person and it just, like unicorns and rainbows, right? So you always go through like different stages in life. There's going to be up and down. time. And the most important thing is to get yourself prepared for that and understanding that this is the part of the journey. And this is not the sentence, especially when you're going through the tough times, it's just the season. Understanding that everything is going to pass. And if people are really strong and have great feelings for each other, they're going to survive through any storms in life. Bruno.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, and I completely agree with you. Actually, I agree with you on all of that. It's just like, for example, when you were talking about emotional maturity, right? I immediately reminded communication, because you need both, right? If you're not emotional mature, you can communicate, and you'll never
Absolutely.
communicate if you're mature enough to make the decision of communicating. People who are not emotional mature give you the silence treatment, right? To punish you, right? But people who are emotional mature enough, they know that, like, we're not really going anywhere with this. So, like, what's the point? Just like, I don't want to be with someone. Like, what's the point of being with someone if I'm going to be annoyed with you, right? I mean, like, I was so happy when I was single by myself. I didn't get into a relationship for this. Like, I mean, so I think it's really that, right? I mean, I'm a person who was like alone. When I mean alone, like single, right? I'm a person who was like single for like 5 years. So when it comes to me, it's one of those things where, like, I always told myself, like, I know the partner that I want. I know who I want. I know the type of woman that I want by my side, right? And I'm not gonna give that up for anything. I think when you have that, not that resistance, when you have that perseverance, right? When you persevere in the person that you want, and you will only get what you want, even if other types of women come into your life, right? I think that's really the universe and God kind of testing you to see if you are really worth, if you really are, like, true about, like, waiting or not. Because, like, when you're in a relationship, I know a lot of people that, like, bro, like, when I'm in a relationship, like, I have more women hitting on me than I had when I was single. And I'm like, my friend, that's a test. Because what you have is really good, right? So whatever is out there trying to test you, right? Whether if it's God or really the universe or whatever, is trying to see if, like, if you really are about what you say, right? If you really, if you're still very grateful for what you have, especially when you wanted it so bad not a long time ago, and now you have it, and see if you really are true about that, right? So I think like, you have your qualities in your partner, but I think, like, to actually get that partner, right? I think it's so important that you remain, like, clear on what you want until it comes to you, right? For me, it took me 5 years, right? And like, I'm not saying it's going to be forever, right? I'm not saying that me and my partner we're going to be together forever. But what I know is that it took me 5 years to be with that person, right? And I thank the universe for that, because the reality is that, like, it still came. Whether if it took lots of months, lots of years, right? But it still came, right? So I think that's really what people have to think about. Not only, like, being strong enough to keep themselves in the path until they find what they want, or until what they want comes to them.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And just to leave the listeners with something to think about, we would love to know in the comments section, what are your 3 main qualities in a partner? Because we are all here to help each other, to support each other, and to grow together. So feel free to share and interact with us, and we'll see you next week with more beautiful tips.